I'm going to start the presentation now. Hello, everybody, and welcome to our latest webinar. I hope everybody is enjoying. Will enjoy this in our series, and will find it useful. It's really just a few slides to bring everybody through and explore what, in a general sense, you need to do to get your paid search campaigns into line for 2025 and beyond. And then I'm going to talk about some interesting optimization ideas as well to push things further, and really kind of what the backbone of your strategy should be from an always on point of view. Particularly around creating the media plan, for instance, and then also kind of some advanced strategies where I dive into, kind of where we see paid search going in next year, and what we should be leaning into, I suppose. So if I move on, let's talk about kind of different optimizations that you need to get in place before kind of at the moment leading up into the new year. So it's quite interesting, is what we should really be doing at the start is looking at the current PPC landscape of where we kind of see ourselves. So we're definitely living in a world of data and privacy, increased data and privacy. So obviously we've got consent mode version 2 in place. You'll need that obviously for your remarketing lists. We're kind of working in a world now with more and more automation, whether that's, we can only really use responsive search ads. Should be using scripts. We should be, kind of allowing the bidding strategies to do all the heavy lifting in terms of running our PPC campaigns. Google is as well kind of giving us this less and less data coming through the campaigns, particularly within the search term report. So Google is showing us less data and giving us less to kind of work on. In that sense, we are seeing there is still some insights to be gleaned, obviously, in terms of what actual search terms are driving the bulk of performance. But, if you've looked at your search term report in this year at all, you'll see that there's the number of other searches has gone up exponentially. So we're trying to do almost more with less in that sense. And then we've lost a lot over the last year. We've also lost a lot of kind of the targeting with the keywords. So, exact is definitely not exact anymore. It's more of kind of even could be compared to phrase keyword, phrase keywords were, and phrase is what broad was, and then broad is basically anything else. So with that, bear in mind, these need to be baked into your strategy going forward for 2025, kind of what kind of match types you're going to concentrate on, and obviously what you're going to, what data you're going to be able to glean. We're also living in a world where, kind of Google's grip across the paid search and performance marketing landscape is softening somewhat. We have TikTok ads, which could be an interesting avenue from a search point of view. More and more people on TikTok these days doing search. So, definitely something to look out for. The age demographic is getting older and older on that platform. Also, Bing is also a powerful tool, particularly in the B2B sectors, and anybody targeting anyone outside of Ireland as well. Bing is definitely something to consider, given that it is generally more cost effective. But kind of that we're not really kind of beholden to Google in that sense, or should be willing to pay the Google tax, so to speak, but that we are kind of more open to to looking at other platforms and where can we just get particularly from a performance marketing point of view, where can we get more leads or sales at a better price, essentially, and not trying to rinse out everything too much. In terms of getting your campaigns ready, so at a very basic level, you got to look at your keywords. You have to mine the search term report, so you've got to mine for new converting search terms. So look at this is something that should be done on a kind of regular basis anyway, but look through the search term report for the whole year, even for the whole previous year, 2024, and see, is there anything in there that we're not bidding on that can be added in as a new exact match that has led to a conversion or is leading to some volume, or even is, if you're light on converting traffic, and I'll get into this more, is maybe driving some micro conversions as well. So, little steps along to the big sale. So that's something that you need to do, is that you're just sewn up there in terms of the keywords that you're bidding on. Kind of obviously look for anything that's completely irrelevant and just block them straight away, add them as negative and account level. Look as well, there's a number of different scripts that you can use to see if the campaigns, if one keyword one search term is triggering for more than one keyword. So there might be some kind of ad group level negatives that you can add in that sense, just to tidy everything up. But you need to just make sure that at a very bottom level, at a very basic level, that the campaigns are in a great position from a foundation going into next year. And then also as well, you can consult the search console report to see if there's any new keyword themes coming through there on an organic level, or if you're not bidding, or if you're not ranking organically for some kind of your main kind of kingpin terms that drive most of your business. Maybe you can add them in as well, and maybe you can start bidding on them to have one search policy, and as well ensure that you've added in, if there's any keywords that you're bidding on, and we see this a lot in certain industries, particularly the car industry, and I'll get onto it in the next slide. But if you're bidding on anything that is kind of yearly related, so best deals for 2025, new cars 2025, that you've got your dates up to date. So 2024 has changed to 2025, obviously. So that's in terms of keywords. In terms of ad copy, it's very important that you do the same basically for your ad copy, that you ensure that everything is up to date, that all, anything that says 2024 in it is now 2025. And again, like I said, we see this a lot with cars, particularly. Here's an ad for Opel that's already been updated. And, make sure you've changed any relevant offers, update any countdown timers if you're using any ad customizers, and ensure that if you've done any kind of ad testing throughout the year, that, kind of anything that has positively led to good performance. So any testing that has led to an increase in your click-through rate, that's enabled and actionable, but across all relevant campaigns within the account as well. Just so that you're kind of buttoned up there at a very basic level. And in terms of your landing pages, it's obviously the same. It's just make sure that everything is up to date and that you've got any testing in place too. But it's also a great opportunity going into next year to talk about, kind of the landing pages in a general sense. So, it's a great opportunity to look at the general kind of structure of your landing page, make sure you've got great calls to action, make sure the form is above the fold, and from a lead point of view, to talk about, kind of shout about, social proofing the clients that you have, benefits, to highlight testimonials. It really is a great opportunity going into next year to really think about your landing pages and really kind of see what are we going to do with the pages to increase the conversion rate. I always think of PPC as kind of more of a horse race, is that, you know, the traffic needs to jump over a number of hurdles before it gets to that lead or sale at the end of the day. And, you know, the landing page is the last hurdle. So it's really, really important that you've got a great landing page in place. Next, I'll move on to talking about forecasting. So it's vital going into next year from a performance marketing point of view that you have thought about your the media plan and where you're going to spend your budget. There's one thing with paid search is that it's not a linear. You know, paid search doesn't run in a linear cycle. It's very much, there is the laws of diminishing return are a very real thing. It gets really, really expensive at the top of the market, and this is something that we're, you know, at Legacy Communications, we're just constantly trying to explain to clients that, you know, the market, you know, if it's going well at the moment, we want to invest more money. That extra investment might lead to, you know, we'll definitely be paying more for, in a general sense, leads or, you know, obviously sales for that extra money. So it's about figuring out where the optimal kind of, not how much money you can spend, but what is the optimal spend for the performance that I need. So we can see here in this presentation, or this, you know, this piece of data here, that, you know, for this particular account in question for January 2025, you know, covering 86% of our generic exact keywords is going to cost us €4,000. You know, we're going to get 52 conversions off that, and, you know, we hope to pay about €77 a conversion. So it's really kind of, if we want more of that, we want more leads, and we want to cover, like, you know, we want to get into the 90% of the market on these keywords, we're going to be spending an extra €30,000. Our cost per acquisition is going to go to, you know, well over €300, but we're only going to get 50-ish more leads. So, you know, is that extra $30,000? You know, is it worth it really? You know, can we get leads at a better price than £300? Maybe we can get them for 150 somewhere else, like we can do some Facebook, or we can do some LinkedIn or something like that. So it's not about, like I said, it's not about figuring out how much I can spend on this particular campaign. It's figuring out what's the best spend to get the most amount of results at the best price. So, you know, you need to, if you've got, let's say you have 10 grand a month to spend, maybe I keep it at 4 or even go down to 3 and get that better. And then I look at other avenues of traffic. So you need to really think about forecasting and coming up with the media plan for the year ahead. And this is you know, as well as getting, you know, what I've talked about earlier in the presentation of getting the campaigns into a structural, you know, foundational sense. This is the strategy for the year, is how much we're going to spend and what we think we're going to get for it. So, you know, this is, you know, moving on from the foundations to actually, you know, strategy around our PPC campaigns. So it's kind of looking at the size of as well as looking at the size of the market and how much and how much there is out there. And this, you know, when we go through this, what you need to do is how to forecast is you need to go through line by line each of your campaigns or campaign types, you know, looking at the CPCs at different impression share levels, and then working against assumed impressions. So the size of the market, either looking at available impressions which is essentially search volume, so impression share divided by actual impressions. Click-through rate and conversion rates to understand the cost per conversion figure. And we do that for month by month, because it can fluctuate month on month. You'll see increases in traffic in January for certain industries, and then we'll see decreases in, around Christmas, for instance. Excuse me. So we go through it month by month, and we look at, on a month by month basis, how much we're actually going to spend, and we say, and we come up with the media plan in that sense, and that allows us to drive, to show what we think we're going to get in terms of conversions as well. And this allows us to allocate budget for maximum ROI. So it's not about looking at the overall average, cost per lead, for instance, to take our previous example. It's about looking at what you're really paying for that extra spend. So, it's what's at the end. And we can see for the extra 30 grand that the cost per lead is up at nearly 600 euros. So again, it's where else can we get performance for that? And that's where new avenues of traffic come in. So we are maximizing our current campaigns to the optimal level, and then we're looking for incremental growth in other areas. So again, Meta ads, TikTok, Performance Max, LinkedIn, depending on the industry, Bing, again, depending on the industry and location, anywhere really that we can get leads, at a more optimal price. And that's kind of how we manage our performance campaigns here at Legacy, and that's the way we like to run our strategies. It's just looking for, it's very much performance based strategy in that sense. I'm going to bring everybody through some strategies for success. So it's basically kind of advanced ideas of where we think the market is going next year, the paid search landscape is going next year, and even just kind of different ideas really to of how the campaigns should be monitored and run in 2025. So we're definitely living in a world of automation and AI. I use AI for a lot of writing ad copy. It doesn't really necessarily write the finished article, but it's used definitely for guidance and for inspiration. So obviously ChatGPT, there's a number of different kind of custom GPTs that are quite good within this paid search sphere that can be used to actually write paid search copy and even social media copy to the correct character limits, to the correct title case, etc. So we need to utilize them as much as to do some heavy lifting and to kind of really pull things kind of so that we're just a bit more efficient with our time, really. That said, with AI tools, and even using kind of third-party AI tools to create social ads as well, we need to, it's very easy to fall into kind of, I suppose, AI tropes, where an ad would be very, it would use the same language, like game changing. and different, kind of, you see the same kind of language being used and using again. So you need to be aware of that. And like I said earlier, is that it's not necessarily writes the finished article, but it definitely creates the foundation for general kind of, inspiration around the ads that we're going to use. Automated bidding is here to stay, really. It's used across most of our campaigns, maybe not so much on brand campaigns, but definitely across, a generic campaign. So that needs to be leaned into, and there's a number of different strategies with automated bidding that can, that are really good. We're doing a lot of testing at the moment with, value-based bidding strategies, to define, with kind of B2B clients, to drive leads that we know drive the most revenue for our clients. A form fill versus a call, for instance. So there's lots of different strategies there in terms of whether it's just getting as many conversions as possible versus getting them for the best price. And again, that comes back to what we were talking about earlier with our forecasting, is how our changes and experiments in bidding strategies, and even I'll talk about testing later in the presentation, but how are they going to affect the forecasting that the conversion rates that our forecasting is based on, built on as well. So that needs to be thought about too. You need to as well kind of embrace kind of scripts a lot more. They've been around for years. I've got well over 10 years experience within paid search, and they've been around since I started back then. But yeah, we need to, you should definitely be using scripts for any kind of budget pacing and reporting, particularly reporting around keyword quality score. It's kind of, it's very, very handy in that sense. There's a lot that you can do as well with cross-channel strategy. So you can do cross-channel remarketing. You can build audiences within GA4, for instance, that have come from, social, so from a TikTok campaign or from, kind of meta campaigns. And then we can add those audiences, those remarketing audiences that are particularly from social campaigns to our Google Ads campaign. So when they search again, they see a separate ad or a different, they're treated differently in some way. We can also, you should be testing ad copy across different platforms as well. So what's working in your Google Ads campaign, that can be tested on your paid social campaigns as well, and vice versa, in terms of what's driving the most click-through rates. And as well, the content on your landing page can be tailored for where people come from. There's a number of different third-party tools that can do that as well. So that's exciting and definitely something that is worth testing to drive conversion rates. I'd look into as well micro conversions a bit more. Next year, it's something that I'm quite excited about. So a micro conversion is an action on the website that leads to a big, a macro conversion being a lead or a sale. So they're generally kind of, we'd see that, for instance, somebody might view a video, or they might view a particular page, or for some of my clients, it's like they start filling out the form but don't finish it. So, we're tracking now people filling out the form and not finishing it and calling that a micro conversion. So we know that form starts will lead to form ends. So they'll come back and then fill out the form. So it's how can we track those people? How can we remarket to them again? How can we get them back on the site to ultimately lead to the macro conversion? A lot of different strategies have been to track kind of time on site and average page views, within the campaigns. And I'm not saying that a micro conversion should be, the conversion goal that you're tracking your performance campaigns against, but they should definitely be secondary goals. They don't have to show up in like your reporting or anything, but you should be building audiences off them. You should be looking at, in general, people who perform better. So coming up with strategies to just increase those levels, should be tracking them in terms of kind of keywords that you're bidding on, or search terms that show up in the search term report. So maybe if we see that a keyword leads to a lot of micro conversions, we can assign some budget to that, so that we can kind of fill, to use marketing speak, fill the funnel. So, excuse me. So again, this is going back to what I was saying as well. It's like, they really are, do visitors who browse the promotions page have a higher conversion rate? Is the main call to action on the button, on the button, getting a user to click. It's like, which videos are contributing to leads. These are all little, or which blog post is attracting visitors to sign up to your newsletter, for instance. So these can all be, small little steps towards the big finished article. I'd also strengthen the mobile strategy as well. We definitely live in a mobile first world. That's been something that has been key for been around for a long time. But it's something that I think needs to be doubled down on. So kind of as part of getting ready for 2025, make sure that your app copy and assets are mobile optimized, and that the website is mobile first designed. And obviously, it's kind of a given that many websites will be responsive at the moment. AMP pages are something that is worth testing as well. So AMP pages load really quickly. So on mobile devices, so they would be, we do know that, page speed is a contributing factor to kind of conversion rate. So that's something to concentrate on. And then testing. We should always be testing as well. So, you need to create a testing repository. You need to test for suitable periods of time. You need to test one thing at a time. So running different A/B tests. You need to test, you need to document your results. And if it doesn't work, you can amend the test and go again. Generally, we're testing our click-through. Generally, we're testing our ad copy, and then we're testing our landing page designs. They're the two main testing. Ad copy test, we're simply looking for an increase in click-through rate. Landing page, we're simply looking for a change in our conversion rates. We're also testing our, we can also have general strategy tests as well. So one thing that would have been tested in the past would be like single keyword ad groups, for instance. But kind of that should also be in the mix, and that should also be part of your testing repository. And I suppose a testing calendar as well. So you've mapped the year out ahead of all the different items you're going to test, and what results you're going to have, and again, that can be baked in. Then the results from these tests can be baked into any forecasting you have. So you can say, so we'll say that with this test we're going to see a 5% increase in the conversion rate. Is that going to lead to more? We think we're going to get more sales at the back of that, for instance, which is just something to work against, some kind of KPIs to hold everybody responsible for what they're doing. Also, interesting things in terms of testing is to definitely use like heat mapping, for instance, on the website to see where people are clicking. It's we need to kind of get as much kind of we need to get as much kind of information and data we can from the site. So I definitely would think about getting this. Microsoft Clarity is something that we use in Legacy that is quite easy to stick on to put on the website. So it can be done through the Google Tag Manager, and it's it's something that we would use. So yeah, then this can form the testing around your different landing pages as well. And you can also work on like kind of, I suppose, multivariate testing as well. So that would be testing multiple different changes to the website simultaneously to identify combinations that yield the highest conversion rates. So, we make a change to the form, we know that works. We make a change to our images, we know that works. And we make another change even to, add more testimonials. We know that works. But when we put all three together, do they work together is the big question. So there are different, I suppose, third-party tools that you can use for multivariate testing. Unbounce is something that we use for creating our landing pages. So we'll be working more on that next year with them. But there are other tools that you can use that kind of split traffic between different variants of traffic, or different variants of landing pages as well. I suppose the conclusion, really, to kind of finish up my presentation is to do your housekeeping. Make sure that the infrastructure around the campaigns is up to date and tidy and is in the best place possible going into 2025, and then plan your spend. So make sure that you are aware of the size of the market, how expensive it gets at the top of the market, and really, should you be spending, is spending the money that you have on one particular campaign type, is that the best strategy for your business? Or should you be looking to split it out across different multiple campaigns or platforms or whatever, so that you can kind of drive leads or sales at a better overall price? And then going into next year, you need to be test again, is kind of what I say, and kind of turning your thoughts into data, and then data into insights, and then insights into wisdom, really around what works for the campaigns, but for your business and everything else. So that's the presentation. I hope everybody found it beneficial. My name is Shane McKenna. My email address is just simply shane@legacycommunications.com. If you want to reach out and chat, please do. I'll open everything up to some questions now, if anybody has any. No questions. Okay, we'll leave it at that, guys. Thank you very much for attending the webinar. Like I said, my name is Shane, and my email address is shane@legacycommunications.com. More than happy to chat with anybody on their paid search and general performance marketing needs. Thank you. Bye-bye.